So check this out. I found it in London in a market in Shoreditch. For my Star Wars fans. Like, how great is that? Hey guys, it's Lauren Howe, and I have another how-to for you. I've had a lot of friends and a lot of people ask me if I had any posing tips from my experience competing at Miss Universe, as Miss Canada, and also as a part-time model. So I was giving it some brainstorming, and these are my top 10 posing tips. Okay, so first and foremost is the angle at which the camera is at. If you want to appear taller, shoot from lower. It's that stereotype where that person's on their knee trying to get a photo. That will make someone look taller. If you want to do a selfie, you want to ideally have it as flat as possible. But it all depends on your angles and what you feel looks best. I personally like doing it as flat as possible and not higher or lower because it distorts the shape and size of my face. 2, face the light. I'm not even joking. The first time I ever realized this tip, I was with a friend who's a public figure, and when someone stopped him on the street and they're like, "Can I have a photo with you?" He put his arm around them, looked up at the sun, and went, "Hold on." And he turned to face the light. First of all, it makes a better photo. If the light is shining on you, you're not gonna have that overblown background that's white and your shadow. But if you're taking a selfie, face natural light as much as you can. Overhead lighting is your worst nightmare. Think about why people look bad in an elevator. It's pure overhead lighting. So avoid it like the plague if you can. Make sure your neck is out. That's one of the biggest tricks I learned on like my first beauty photo shoot. Beauty meaning if it's like makeup focused or skin or hair. A photographer gave me the advice, stick out your neck, and for the modeling sense, to an extreme, but it doesn't look weird when it comes to modeling photos. When it comes to personal photos, just make sure your neck is out a little bit because it prevents this and that double chin from happening. Let me do it this way, okay? Like that feels like I'm throwing my chin forward, but it doesn't look that way. Facial expressions. Practice your facial expressions, see what suits you. It does feel weird having to stare in a mirror and just stare at yourself or take a bunch of selfies. But the more you do it, the more you know exactly what your angles are. So therefore, example ones, I had 2 years of braces, so I had my standard smile. Thank you, Dr. Hibbard. The fake laugh is the oh so cliche one. Even like I say fake laugh, but just laugh. Just quietly laugh to yourself. Let out a little like breathless like, and it works. It looks effortless on camera. One of my favorite things to do if I'm behind the camera is I like to make people laugh. I like to make people have a conversation with their because it makes for the most natural and candid smiles. You can also play with the angles of your chin, right? Like how do you like your chin when it's a little bit lower? Do you like it when it's a little bit higher? And tilting that your head back. Ton of different things to play with. I know some people talk about like, say prune. It doesn't work for everybody. That's what I mean. Like I don't work well on the whole like thing, because that's not me. And I think a lot of women could look at that and be sexy, but that's not really my thing. But there might be parting your lips in a way that's just like as relaxed as your jaw as possible, right? Tyra Banks of the infamous smizing. It's so true because if it's a head up shot, a lot of emotion will come through your eyes, whether you know it or not. To really either have a thought when you look behind or know exactly how to look into a camera is a really big deal. Rather than you can really see the difference. If you want to fake the smizing thing, might be looking down and looking away, don't focus on the camera, and then look up to it in that moment. And just do that a few times if someone's helping take a photo for you. All poses come down to angles. One of the biggest things with angles is always creating space in a photo, creating dimensions. That's why you see people with like, when they have their hand up, don't just do this, please don't do that. But if you're gonna stand posing with one leg out and you put your hand on your hip, this creates a line. So there's this, or there's this. One of them is a broken angle and the other one is a straight line, which makes you look longer, and who else doesn't want that? If you need pose inspiration, go to different websites. So e-commerce websites, which are anywhere that you shop online, those are models that are going through hundreds and hundreds of effortless looking poses in a day. They're not the over the top glamorous ones, but they're the little things of how do you create angles. There's the fake little like, it's cliche, playing with my nails. It's not about the nails, it's about the fact that like your arms are creating space in between rather than you just standing straight. Move, 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 move. Whatever you do, keep moving on camera. I personally, if you're having a friend take photos of you, make sure the sound is on your phone so you can hear the shutter every single time a photo is taken. Every time you hear the photo being taken, you can change your pose, you can change the movement. And the things, it doesn't have to be a giant pose change, it can be subtle movements. So say you're keeping the exact same pose, maybe it's your head, maybe it's your smile, maybe it's the effortless facial changes, and then you change the pose entirely. Or you can have natural movements where the more you just move around in the photo, run your fingers through your hair, laugh, hand on your chin, more movement you have, the more variety you have later on to look at that, whether that's on your cell phone or in front of an actual photographer. While you're moving, make sure you slightly pause. And if you're doing those things in between, like fluffing your hair, keep a smile on. Because those are like effortless, those could look like very candid photos, but if you're sitting there, instead of going, then that photographer is gonna take all those photos in between of your face going like this. So how to make yourself look taller? Think long when you're looking for your poses. That means pointing your toe. If you stagger your feet so one foot is a little further in front of the camera, further towards the camera, pointing the toe makes a really big difference. If you're sitting down, instead of sitting straight and it's showing all the way to your toes, why not lean back a little bit and point the toes? And then you create, instead of an angle that's sitting, you're creating more of this. For all my tall girls out there, you keep standing tall. It's an age-old story when someone says, I grew up tall and I was awkward. We're all self-conscious going through high school. So if you happen to be in high school and you are a taller individual, don't slouch down to be the same height as everybody else. You stand tall and you own that because that's who you are and that is beautiful. Last but not least, if your friend is taking photos, take a ton. We live in a digital age, guys. We have the ability to not have the one-shot wonder Polaroids, which are so much fun to do, by the way. If you ever have an event, like put down the cell phones and actually bust out Polaroids so people aren't on their phones for the night. The best nights with the best photos. But for the digital photos and for people wanting to take them for Instagram, if you want to be the favorite friend, if your girlfriend loves to get a good photo, I'm giving you the key. Just keep taking them. It's not 1, 2, 4, 10. It's 100. Click, 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 click. Move the camera around, move the camera around. Give a few angles. Better yet, you want to go 2.0 on it as a photographer for your friends, you give them direction. You don't even have to know what you're talking about, but just tell them, being like, okay, change it up. Ooh, try sitting. Ooh, try standing. Oh, you know what? Move your hand here. Put your leg there. They will love you. No one knows what they look like on camera, and if you just keep firing away at that, you can have no clue what you're doing, but you will make them so happy. All right, guys, so those are my top 10 posing tricks. If you have any other suggestions, be sure to let me know in the comments. If you want to see other how-to videos or want to know about things, let me know. If you haven't already, there's a little button in the corner, see right over there. Subscribe. Show some love to this video, don't you say?